Dating when becoming that girl. Today we are finally going to talk about dating, relationships, marriages in relation to you becoming that girl. I'm going to be honest, I was going to actually avoid the whole subject of relationships, and God was like, don't be so stupid. People change destinies. That's the first thing that you need to understand as a woman. People change destinies. The man that you date and marry is going to change your destiny and also your generation's destinies. A man that you choose to marry is the only family that you choose, so you need to choose wisely. Today, I'm going to share with you about 7 things that you need to consider when dating whilst becoming that girl in your journey to being her. And you're always on the journey, so these rules always apply. First things first, God has to be in the center. In becoming that girl, if you decide to put a man in the center of your life, you will topple over. Anything other than God that is not in the center, you will topple over. Let me explain this. When God is in the center, you are in the center. This is really important when it comes to dating for marriage, because the moment you decide to center a man, you will be shamed on this earth. And this is whether he's good, whether he's bad, anything. Relying and trusting your faith in a man 100%, and by man I actually mean any human being, is not wise. But God, as the center, is your only reliable strength. And if you put God in the center, God is within you because the kingdom of God is within you. It means that actually you are able to center you. One of the most disastrous mistakes that women make when it comes to dating, when it comes to marriage, is letting their whole entire world revolve around a man. If God truly is in the center of you, you understand that marriage is not purpose. You understand a man is not purpose. You understand that your goals, your priorities, what you have been called to do on this earth are the center of your universe. I think it's actually impossible, and I've only got to this place, I'm going to share this, I've only got to this place based on my journey and walk with God. I think it's impossible not to put yourself in the center, not to put your goals and your priorities first, if God is in the center. When God becomes in the center of your world, you automatically make sure you are the number one person in your life. So before you start dating for marriage, before you decide, are you ready? You really need to make sure that God is in the center and you are in the center. Because this will mean that you will never be one of those women whereby you don't complete the degree, you don't go and travel, you don't relocate, you can't even go for a holiday with the girls, all because your whole world centers around a man. If you don't get the text message, if you don't get invited, it is like someone has taken oxygen away from you. A man, even a good man, is not oxygen to your life. That man didn't give you life. He can't take away life. He is just someone that you are going to decide, do you want to marry him? So that's the number one thing. In dating, when becoming that girl, it has to be that God is in the center. And the more you prioritize that time with God, the more that you're always able to actually work out, do the things that you need to do. This also made me think, when women say they lose themselves, you've lost yourself because the man was in the center. Go to the gym. Like, just because you have a husband, just because you're dating, go to the gym. Your world doesn't revolve around him. Number 2, do not break God's rules. If you decide to break God's rules when it comes to what has been set from the beginning of time, you will suffer. Dating whilst becoming that girl, you are not to play house with any man. Cooking and cleaning and trying to prove your worth, absolutely not. And you might be saying to me, but why? We live in a modern world. Please show me in the Bible one woman who had to wash up a dish, one woman had to clean the house, one woman who had to cook and perform before she got married. When you find that one woman in the Word, in the Bible, that had to do that, then I can accept that it's okay to play house with a man. It's okay for you to live with him, cooking and cleaning and tidying when he hasn't married you. Absolutely not. If you stick to God's rules, you won't suffer. Because unfortunately, the world has convinced a lot of women that be with that man for 5 years, washing dishes and cooking, and there is no ring on your finger. And by the way, marriage is not purpose. Marriage doesn't do anything. We're going to go into that in another episode, another chat. Please do let me know. For anyone who has read the Bible from Genesis to Revelation, can you find one woman who had to cook and clean before she got married? Absolutely not. It doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. So don't ever on this earth put yourself in a situation because, quote unquote, the world wants to say, it's the 21st century. Oh my gosh, it's a new world order. God said, do not add or do not take away from my word. When you decide to add to God's word, because it's the 21st, you will suffer. And you were not meant to suffer. The purpose of dating when becoming that girl in God's house is to data collect. Your job is to be able to assess, is this man sent to you by the Most High? Your job is not to perform. Your job is not to try and prove, are you a wife? That is not the purpose. And remember, you're already a wife. The wife doesn't come because you cook and clean. Why do I say this? In the word, it says, he who finds a wife. Not he who finds a single woman and makes her a wife. You were called to be a wife from the beginning of time. It's already been written in your story. So the action of cooking, cleaning and doing all of those things, that's not what makes you a wife when from the beginning of time, you've already been called to be a wife. This is so, so important to soak in our spirits. It differentiates your ability to think straight or not think straight. Again, this one is going to be very hard. The modern world wants to convince you that you should sex and do everything underneath the sun, playing girlfriend, and that's okay. No. Marriage first, then he knew her. God was very specific in the word. If you look at all of them, it was marriage first, then he knew her, then she bore a child. It is that simple. Again, the modern world wants to convince you that, oh no, sleep with this man, let him test drive you, and then he can figure out whether you're the one or not, and you can play house and do all of these things. You will suffer. Doing anything outside of God's rules, results may vary. And life is fully spiritual. Sex is an actual covenant. So the best thing to do is just not to do it. Just don't do it. And I know this is going to be really hard. Let me not sit and pretend it's not going to be hard. It is going to be really hard. But what type of results do you want? God's results will always outshine any human version of results that you're trying to aim for. This is so important. I tell you why it's also important. If that man is not your husband, he won't wait. And why would you want to be sleeping with a man who is not your husband? If that man is not your husband, he will not wait. So that means you are just sleeping with a placeholder. You are just sleeping with a counterfeit. Give yourself permission to say, I am worthy. Let me see if this man is willing to know my value and wait. Give yourself that grace. Give yourself that space. fourth thing, I believe, is how is he treating you? In becoming that girl when you're dating, one of your most important questions is how is he treating you? You will know them by their fruit. And you must be able to assess this immediately. How is he treating you? How is he speaking to you? How is he trying to make sure your needs are met? How is he making sure you're nurtured and cared for? I always go back to the book of Ruth. Boaz, no romantic intentions around Ruth at this point. However, he says to the men in the field, make sure that you go ahead of her and cut the sheaves. Make sure that I've told my men to basically look after you. How is that man treating you? Naomi also reveals something really powerful in the word. She says to Ruth, we need you a husband so you can go and find rest in your husband's house. If you are dating a man and you are not in a restful place, please get rid of him. Get rid of him immediately. If there is no peace, if there is no calm, if there is no looking after, who sent that man to you? Can we all collectively just say, if there is no peace, if there is no calm, if there is no provision, can we unilaterally agree? Who sent that man to you? And you have to be good at asking this question when you're dating for marriage. Who sent him to you? Pray to God who knows all things. God, is this man from you? If he's not from you, please swiftly remove him. This is a prayer all women must get good at praying. Get good at asking God. The most important decision when it comes to someone that's a person in your life is the man that you choose to marry. If it isn't being sent to you by God, send him away. Send him away so swiftly, because it is set to change your whole entire destiny, your whole entire way of living. It determines even things like the type of restaurants you eat in, the type of holidays you take, where your children are going to go to school. It determines, do you go to the opera? Do you go to the tennis? It determines how much food you have in your fridge. Are your bills paid on time? What type of environment you live in? It determines, actually, is he going to be moaning when you're praying? It determines so much. You must ask God, who answers questions, who knows all things, who sent this man to me. Let me explain why. One of my favorite stories in the Bible has to be when Samuel goes to find Saul's replacement in the house of Jesse. And Jesse has many boys. Samuel looks at the first one. This must be the Lord's anointed, because he's looking at his physical appearance. By his human eyes, he thinks the first son of Jesse is the Lord's anointed. No, it's not. It's not the second one. It's not the third one. It's not the fourth one. And then what does God say? And please don't quote me on this, but I think it's around Samuel chapter 16. God said, I, the Lord, do not look at the appearance. I look at man's heart. This is exactly why you must go and ask God. Look, you need to be attracted to your husband. You need to be attracted to that man. But whether he's 4'11", whether he's bald, whether he's got a beard, whether he's black, white, pink or blue, it does not matter. Doesn't matter. What matters is his heart and how he's going to treat you. When you are collecting data, the fruit that you need to be looking for is, how does this man treat you? Are you being provided for? Are you being cared for? Is he treating you as more precious than rubies? If those things are not present, first, knowledge, wisdom and understanding will tell you that man is not from God. Because I think there is a notion in dating for marriage sometimes that you're meant to suffer. Really? Why would the Most High, who holds marriage in high esteem, send you a man to suffer with as a test? That man is not from God. Absolutely not. So when dating for marriage, when dating in becoming that girl, you must be able to ensure you have wisdom. There is no test to you. God does not test you to lay next to a serpent. If that man is acting like the actual serpent himself, send him away. And the reason that it's taken so long to talk about dating whilst becoming that girl, before you commence dating, you really must be a long way into your journey in becoming that girl. And by that, I mean your feet, your 2 feet, your left and your right feet must be planted in the house of the Lord. The reason for this is your value. If your value is shaky, a man will test that. A man will test whether you are willing to eat breadcrumbs. If your value is not there, if you do not have value, if you know you are not that girl, if you don't act like that girl, if you don't have that aura of that girl, that spirit of that girl, which comes from God the Most High, you will willingly eat crumbs. Any bit of crumbs that man sends you, you will eat it all up. He sends you one text message and goes to you for 2 weeks, you're still there. He asks you to pay for all the dinners, you're still there. All because in the name of I need to be in a relationship and my feet are not in my God's house, therefore I do not know my value, so I'm willing to eat the crumbs. Jesus already gave you the loaf. Number one thing, number one rule, Jesus already gave you the loaf. So in any situation or circumstance you find yourself when it comes to dating, whilst you are on this journey to becoming that girl, you can't eat anything less than the loaf or nothing. So you have to really ask yourself, is this man giving me the loaf? What am I getting? What is the position here? And this is why it's so important that God is first. I would say the more you spend time with God, the better you become at dating, because you have a lower tolerance level. You are able to quickly discern, no, this is a chaff, this is the wheat, this is bad fruit, this is good fruit. I can't tolerate this. I can't tolerate this because my father says no. A father wants the best for his daughter. So the Most High is never going to send you a serpent to date. The lack of value is what will allow you to lay next to a serpent, is what will allow you to allow a serpent to sting you. The other thing is, when dating whilst becoming that girl, you have to be so ruthless. Can we all again unilaterally agree? There is nothing wrong with the block, delete and walk away button. Allow yourself to know your value and allow yourself to say, if that man doesn't recognize your value, that you are going to be willing to walk away. Because on this earth, what cannot happen is you keep on lowering the price because the buyer cannot pay the price that's due. That can't happen. And I'm not saying you're something to be bought, but God has said you're more precious than rubies. So why would you treat yourself like cubic zirconium? Why would you treat yourself like tin foil? Why would you change the value that's already been set from the beginning of time? Do let me know in the comments, when it comes to dating, when becoming that girl, is there anything else that you will add to this list? And this is just a quick run through of 7 things that I think that are very important and key to ensure that you start to have a successful period of dating in the journey to becoming that girl, in the journey to being a daughter of the Most High and with your feet planted in his shelter.